This is Marne Monitor, a weekly glance into the activities and interesting sidelights of the 3rd Infantry Division. News and views, music and sports, the voices that make up the 3rd Infantry Division. Now, from the Marne Division Information Office, here's tonight's host for Marne Monitor.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Army Specialist Doyle Wenzel, welcoming you to another 25 minutes of the show that keeps you in the know and on the go with the 3rd Infantry Division. Tonight, our Marne microphones travel to Aschaffenburg and a talk with the 1969 USRA football champions, the Aschaffenburg Cardinals. Then it's to Würzburg and a look at a GED language program titled Head Start. And so for the next 25, it's news, our Marne Bulletin Board. And as always, there's music. Marne Monitor opens up this evening with a $1 million seller from 1958. Remember when the Diamonds sang?
Well, how are you? My lover, I was wrong. You try. You love to. Well, that my lover was just for you.
My darling, I need you to call my own and never do wrong. To hold in mind your little hand. I'll know too soon that all is so grand. Please hold my hand.
That my lover was just for you.
That's the Diamonds from 1958 and the song called Little Darlin'. Last weekend at Graves Kaserne in Aschaffenburg, the Aschaffenburg Cardinals downed the Berlin Bears 6-0, and thus becoming the new 1969 USRA football champions. Army PFC Jim Wylop talked to the team immediately after the game.
The sounds this year of the championship Aschaffenburg Cardinals, victorious in the USRA Football Championship for the season 1969. It was a replay of last year's game, which pitted the Berlin Bears against the Aschaffenburg Cardinals. Last year, it was all Berlin. This year, a different story as the Aschaffenburg Cardinals defense held the Bears and went on to victory. The score, 6-0. After the game, I asked the quarterback of the Aschaffenburg Cardinals, Philip Stevens, his reactions to the game.
How did the game go today? Well, like I said, our offense functioned a little bit, but we didn't get too many points on the board. This was hell.
Later, I spoke with both the coach and the assistant coach of the Aberg Cardinals, coaches Beyer-Schmidt and McDaniels. These were their reactions at the award ceremony.
What would you say today was the key in the Aschaffenburg game? Was it the offensive team or the defensive team?
Definitely the defensive team. Wouldn't you say so, Sergeant McDaniel? That's a right. It's strictly the defensive game.
Are there any individual people that you would like to spotlight at this time as being perhaps keys in your defensive team?
Well, of course, Harris Jones, Lawrence Jackson, the whole team. It's just real team effort all the way around.
Now, how about your quarterback when he was scrambling back in the backfield on several plays? Any comment there?
Well, he was on his own, I'll say that for him. He did call most of the plays today by himself. I thought he did a real fine job.
Well, we noticed from the press box that he was mixing his plays quite well.
He's just a young quarterback. He graduated from high school last year, and I think he's done a fantastic job. It's a big step uphill, you know, from high school level ball to the level of ball that we're playing right here.
Well, Coach, how many men are you going to lose for next season?
I really have no way of telling because I won't be here myself.
Is there anybody on your coaching staff that you'd like to point out at this time as helping you all season long?
We have... Thank you. Sergeant McDaniel's here, Sergeant First Class James McDaniels. He's my assistant coach. And we have our trainer here. He also helps coach. This is YNPNG. YNPE.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of this team. You know, since we lost last year, but really win this time. We are the number one. Number one.
That's right. Well, Coach Barishmet, were you coach last year in the championship game?
No, I wasn't. I was, this time last year I was in Ranger School. This time next year I'll be in Vietnam.
So actually, this is your first coaching assignment with the Army. Is this correct?
That is correct.
And quite a coaching success it's been all season long. The Aberg Cardinals have been behind or been the underdog, and yet they've always come from behind.
Well, I would like to point out that a lot of our players coach themselves. They get together, and with only two coaches, it's too much work for us to do by ourselves, and the players themselves find out what's going on, and they talk among themselves, and they make a lot of corrections on their own without any word from either Sergeant McDaniel or myself.
In other words, it's a 100% team effort as opposed to maybe individual stars.
Well, I'd say maybe it's about 105%.
You couldn't ask for any more. The winning coaches of the Aschaffenburg Cardinals, coaches Thomas Beierschmidt and James McDaniel, praising their team in a hard-fought game, a game, of course, that went to the Aberg Cardinals. The game now is in the record books. For another year, the season is over. It was a memorable year indeed. The Aberg Cardinals at one time were rated no higher than number 7 in the Usurer Football Conference, but yet they proved that they were number 1, taking on the mighty Berlin Bears. The final score in the game, the Aschaffenburg Cardinals 6, the Berlin Bears 0. This is Army PFC, J.B. Wylip, returning you now to Marne Monitor.
Rita Kerr Singers on Marne Monitor, and all you need is love. Time now for the 3rd Infantry Division's Bulletin Board. Over at the Harvey Service Club in Kitzigan tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day begins at 1500 hours. Come over and have a cartoon caricature drawn of yourself. And then at 20:30 hours, it will be time for everyone to gather around the old turkey table, so don't miss Thanksgiving Day at the Kitzigan Harvey Service Club. On Sunday, you'll not want to miss the scheduled tour of the Chris Hindle Mart in Nuremberg. Bus departure time is set for 1100 hours. For those of you in the Würzburg area that would like to refresh your world history knowledge, the Leighton Service Club has just the thing coming up this Sunday. The club is sponsoring a trip to the Gutenberg Museum in Mainz. Be sure to join the group when they visit this world-famous museum. Bus loading time is set for 1900 hours, and the cost is only $1.50. And say, how's your ability in directing a choir? If it's good, you may be just the man the Marne Glee Club is looking for. The new director must take over about the middle of January and should have past experience in choral leadership and considerable vocal work. And say, there's also room for vocalists in the Glee Club. If you'd like an audition or interview, call the Marne Glee Club at Würzburg Military 6232. And that's our Marne Bulletin Board for tonight. Send your items to the 3rd Infantry Division's Information Office, APO 09036, for the Bulletin Board.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because our love is too much, baby.
Elvis Presley on the Monitor and Suspicious Minds. A program named Head Start, developed by the Marne Division's Education Center, began in Schweinfurt last year and has now spread to the Bad Kissingen-Würzburg areas. For the complete story, here's Army PFC Jim Wylop.
I'm speaking this afternoon with Miss Lisa Alberta, the GED Language Supervisor for District 4, located at Leighton Barracks. Miss Alberta, could you explain to us briefly the Head Start program in the 3rd Division?
Yes, we started to develop the course exactly for Schweinfurt, for the Education Center in Schweinfurt. Colonel Grimeland went to see our education advisor, Mr. Exeter, there, and thought that it would be a pretty good idea to get a 20-hour course for every newcomer over here. So, well, what could we do in 20 hours? You cannot learn the language in 20 hours. But we felt it might be important that a new military personnel coming over here learns a little about the different customs in Germany and give him a couple of phrases so he could go to town and at least ask, wo ist der Bahnhof, or something like that.
Has your program met with great success?
Well, I would say so, because on a continuing basis, we have the program in session now since November 68 in Gladwart. And they are teaching there every month 4 classes.
When did the program begin in Würzburg?
We started the program in Würzburg the last week in October. So far we had 4 classes here now.
Approximately how many students are in a class and how long are the classes?
They have about 8 to 10 students in one class. For 4 days from 8 to 12 they are going for language instructions. Besides that, as I said before, to learn about our European and especially German customs. Besides that, they learn traffic signs and a couple of phrases. Then the last day is a so-called field trip, where they are going to the city with a teacher.
Do the students look forward to this field trip to use their newfound knowledge?
Yes, it's quite interesting. Last Friday, when they were on the field trip, I went with them, and I was very amazed that how much they had picked up and how they used it, because we stopped in one little coffee shop, and every one of them was very anxious to order their own cup of coffee.
What is the future of the Head Start program?
We have the classes in session now in Schweinfurt, Wertheim, Bad Kissingen in our education centers, and lately now here in Leighton Barracks, that a lot more centers, and especially in our district, will pick it up, and some of the other districts have picked it up already too.
How was the Project Head Start program developed?
Well, a couple of our instructors and we got together and tried to find out how much we could do in a 20-hour course. So I must say it was a good teamwork in District 4.
Is the program available to everyone?
Well, we set it to a limit of 12 students per class. But if we cannot fill up the class with 12 military students, dependents or the young soldier's wife may come in on a space available.
I've been speaking this afternoon with Miss Lisa Alberta, the GED Language Supervisor for District 4. This is Army PFC J.B. Wylip, returning you now to Marne Monitor.
We close tonight's Marne Monitor with a pretty tune from the Fleetwoods called Come Softly to Me.
I want
I love you so. Please hold me so tight. All through the night. I speak softly, hear what I say. I love you always. I've waited so long for your kisses and your love. Please come to me from above. Come softly, darling. Come softly, darling. I need you so much.
That's the Fleetwoods closing out tonight's Marne Monitor with Come Softly to Me. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 20:05 hours. On behalf of the 3rd Infantry Division's Information Office, this is Army Specialist Doyle Wenzel.
This has been a weekly glance into the happenings of the Marne Division. This program is produced by the 3rd Infantry Division Information Office. Tune in again next week at 8:05 when, once again, AFN presents Marne Monitor.